Have you ever felt bloated, tired, or just off after eating leftovers? Have you ever wondered why your stomach feels heavy after a meal that should have been perfectly fine? I'm going to tell you something today that might explain a lot of those unexplained symptoms. And I'm going to name names, 7 specific foods that change in ways your body simply cannot handle as you get older. Some of them are probably in your fridge right now. Some of them you ate yesterday. And one of them, the one that scares me the most, is something almost every senior eats regularly. Stay with me until the end, because this one might just change how you think about dinner forever. The standard advice you hear about leftovers is simple. Store them in the fridge, reheat them thoroughly, and they're safe to eat. But that advice misses the deeper biological reality. When you cook food, you're changing its molecular structure. Proteins denature, starches gelatinize, and bacteria are killed off by heat. But when you cool that same food and then reheat it, you're subjecting those already altered molecules to another round of chemical transformation. And for certain foods, those second-round changes are not benign. The real problem comes down to 3 things. First, nutrient degradation. Heat-sensitive vitamins like B-complex and vitamin C break down further with each reheating cycle. Second, the formation of harmful compounds. Some foods, when reheated, produce substances that can irritate your digestive tract, increase inflammation, or even introduce toxins that your aging liver has to work harder to clear. And third, bacterial toxins. Some bacteria produce heat-stable toxins that aren't destroyed even when you reheat the food to steaming hot. These toxins can cause food poisoning symptoms that hit older adults especially hard. Your body's natural defenses aren't what they used to be. Your stomach acid production may have decreased. Your gut microbiome may have shifted. Your immune response may be slower. That means foods that a 20-year-old can handle without issue might cause you digestive distress, inflammation, or even more serious health concerns. So what are these 7 foods? Let me walk you through them, one by one, in a countdown that starts with the least risky and builds to the one that surprises everyone. Number 7, eggs. Here's something that may surprise you. Eggs are one of the most nutritious foods on the planet. They're packed with high-quality protein, healthy fats, and essential vitamins. But reheating them changes their protein structure in a way that can cause digestive discomfort. When you reheat eggs, the proteins become more tightly bound and harder for your stomach enzymes to break down. This can lead to gas, bloating, and a heavy feeling in your stomach. The albumin proteins in eggs undergo structural changes during reheating that reduce their digestibility. If you have leftover eggs, the safest approach is to eat them cold in a salad or sandwich. If you must reheat them, use a very low heat setting and reheat them gently for no more than 30 seconds. Hard-boiled eggs are actually safer to reheat than scrambled or fried, because the protein structure has already been fully set during boiling. Even then, I recommend chopping them cold over a fresh green salad instead of microwaving them. Number 6, mushrooms. Mushrooms are wonderful for seniors. They're rich in antioxidants, B vitamins, and even some vitamin D if they've been exposed to UV light. But reheating mushrooms is a different story entirely. Mushrooms contain proteins that can break down into compounds that may irritate your stomach when reheated. Some studies have also suggested that reheating mushrooms can alter their cell wall structure, potentially releasing substances that are harder on your digestive system. The proteins and chitin in mushrooms can become more resistant to digestion after reheating. If you have leftover mushrooms, eat them cold in salads or cold pasta dishes. If you really want them warm, add them to a soup and reheat the entire soup gently, rather than microwaving the mushrooms alone. The safest way to enjoy mushrooms is to cook them fresh each time. They cook quickly and don't take much effort. A quick sauté with garlic and olive oil takes less than 10 minutes and gives you a far better nutritional profile than reheated mushrooms. Number 5, potatoes. Potatoes are a staple in many senior homes. They're filling, comforting, and versatile. But potatoes have a hidden risk when it comes to reheating. Potatoes contain an amino acid called asparagine. When potatoes are cooked and then reheated at high temperatures, that asparagine can convert into acrylamide, a compound that the World Health Organization classifies as a probable human carcinogen. Additionally, if potatoes are left at room temperature for too long before refrigeration, they can become a breeding ground for Clostridium botulinum bacteria, which produces a heat-stable toxin. Starches also break down into simpler sugars that have a higher glycemic index. To minimize risk, ensure you refrigerate cooked potatoes within 2 hours of cooking. When reheating, use an oven or toaster oven at a moderate temperature rather than a microwave, and never reheat potatoes that were left out overnight. The safest and healthiest way to enjoy leftover potatoes is to make a cold potato salad with a healthy vinaigrette dressing. This avoids reheating entirely and provides beneficial fats from olive oil and vinegar. Number 4. Chicken. Chicken is one of the most commonly reheated proteins in the world. It's lean, affordable, and easy to cook in bulk. But chicken presents a serious risk when it comes to reheating. The primary risk with reheated chicken is bacterial growth. Even if you reheat chicken to steaming hot, some bacteria produce toxins that are heat-stable and won't be destroyed. These toxins can cause digestive distress within a few hours of eating. The protein structure of chicken also changes during reheating, making it tougher and harder to digest. Bacterial toxins produced by organisms like Staphylococcus aureus and Salmonella are the main concern, and the myosin proteins in chicken also become more tightly bound. If you need to reheat chicken, ensure it reaches an internal temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Use a meat thermometer to verify. Reheat in a conventional oven or on the stove with a small amount of broth to maintain moisture. The best way to use leftover chicken is to shred it cold and add it to a fresh green salad, or mix it into a cold chicken salad with avocado and lemon juice. This eliminates reheating risk and provides healthy fats. Number 3. Spinach and leafy greens. This one often surprises people. Spinach is a superfood. It's full of iron, calcium, magnesium, and powerful antioxidants. But reheating spinach is something you should avoid. Spinach contains naturally occurring nitrates. When you cook spinach and then reheat it, those nitrates can convert into nitrites. Under certain conditions, those nitrites can combine with amino acids to form nitrosamines, compounds that have been linked to increased cancer risk. Heat-sensitive vitamins like vitamin C and folate are also destroyed in the process. If you have leftover cooked spinach, eat it cold in a salad, or add it to a cold grain bowl. If you must have it warm, reheat it very gently over low heat on the stovetop. Adding fresh lemon juice, the vitamin C in the lemon helps inhibit nitrosamine formation. The healthiest approach is to cook only the amount of spinach you'll eat in one meal. Spinach cooks down so much that a large handful becomes a small serving, so it's easy to cook fresh each time. Number 2. Oils and fried foods. This one may not be a single ingredient, but it's a category that deserves serious attention. Foods that are fried or cooked in oil that is then reheated present a significant concern. When you heat cooking oil, especially oils rich in polyunsaturated fats, you create free radicals and other oxidative byproducts. When you reheat that same oil in leftover food, you create additional oxidation products called lipid peroxides. These compounds are inflammatory and can damage your cells and blood vessels. Unsaturated fatty acids break down into aldehydes and other reactive compounds that are pro-inflammatory. Avoid reheating any food that was originally fried. If you have leftover fried foods, eat them cold or at room temperature. Never reheat oil-based foods in a microwave. When cooking foods that you plan to refrigerate, use stable cooking oils like avocado oil or coconut oil. These oils are more resistant to oxidation, even when reheated. And here it is. The number one food I urge you to never reheat: rice. This surprises more people than any other item on this list. Rice seems so harmless, but rice is actually the most common source of food poisoning from leftovers in older adults. Rice contains spores of a bacteria called Bacillus cereus. These spores are heat-resistant. They survive the initial cooking process. When you leave cooked rice at room temperature for even a few hours, those spores germinate and begin producing toxins. Unlike many bacteria, the toxins produced by Bacillus cereus are heat-stable. They are not destroyed by reheating. So even if you reheat your rice to piping hot, you can still get food poisoning. The only way to safely eat leftover rice is to cool it rapidly after cooking and refrigerate it within 1 hour. Even then, you should eat it cold in a rice salad or use it for cold sushi-style dishes. Avoid reheating rice altogether. Cook rice fresh each time. It takes only 20 minutes and is far safer. If you need convenience, consider using frozen, pre-cooked rice that you can heat from frozen in a single cycle, as this reduces the time bacteria have to multiply. Now that you know the 7 foods, I want to give you 4 rules that will help you apply this information safely. First, the 2-hour rule. Never leave cooked food at room temperature for more than 2 hours. If the room is warm, over 90 degrees Fahrenheit, reduce that time to 1 hour. Bacteria multiply rapidly at room temperature, and no amount of reheating will reverse the toxins they produce. Second, cool before storing. When you place hot food in the refrigerator, it can raise the temperature inside your fridge and compromise other foods. Always cool leftovers to room temperature before storing them, but do it quickly. The best method is to divide large portions into shallow containers so they cool evenly. Third, the 1 reheat limit. Reheat any food only once. Each cycle of reheating degrades nutrients and potentially forms harmful compounds. If you have leftovers that have already been reheated, do not reheat them again. This applies to all foods, not just the 7 on this list. Fourth, trust your instincts. If a leftover food looks different, smells different, or tastes different than it did fresh, even if you think you reheated it thoroughly, trust your body's warning signs. It's always better to lose a few dollars worth of food than to spend a day dealing with digestive distress, or worse. Your health is worth far more than that container of leftovers. So, let me take a moment to bring this all together for you. You're over 60. You've spent decades learning how to stretch your food budget, how to avoid waste, how to make meals that last. I respect that. I grew up in a home where nothing was thrown away. I understand the value of food and the hard work that goes into preparing it. But here's what I need you to hear. Your body is not the same body it was at 40. Your digestive system, your immune system, your liver's ability to process toxins, they've changed. And the risks associated with reheating certain foods become more significant as you age. You deserve to know these risks. You deserve to make informed choices. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to throw away every container of leftover rice or chicken in your fridge. But knowledge gives you power. Knowing which foods pose the greatest risk allows you to make better decisions. To cook fresh when you can, to eat cold when it's safer, and to never, ever take a risk with your health just to save a few minutes or a few dollars. Let me ask you a question. What's the first thing you would want to do if you felt more energetic and had less digestive discomfort? Would you take a longer walk? Would you spend more time with your grandchildren? Would you travel somewhere you've always wanted to see? I want you to imagine that for a moment, and I want you to share this video with someone you care about, because I guarantee there's someone over 60 in your life who reheats rice, who microwaves spinach, who doesn't know about the risk of Bacillus cereus or nitrosamines or acrylamide. Sharing this knowledge is an act of love. It's a gift that costs nothing and could save someone from a very unpleasant experience. If you're still watching, I want to thank you. It means the world to me that you trust me with your time and your health. Please hit that like button if you found this information valuable. Subscribe to this channel so you don't miss future videos about natural ways to protect your health. And share this with a friend, a spouse, a sibling, or a neighbor. One share might be the thing that protects them from the hidden dangers of leftover foods. Take care of your digestion, your energy, and your long-term health. This is your health instructor, reminding you that some foods are best enjoyed fresh, and asking you to always listen to what your body is telling you. Until next time, be well. And remember, when it comes to your health, knowledge is the best medicine.